Welcome to Africa Speaks of today. My name is Stephen Malindwa, and I do hope, and always, as always, that you always have a wonderful time, because you never know with life, you have to have a wonderful time. You never know. Anything can happen tomorrow, and you're no longer with us. But make sure, as I said, have a wonderful time in whatever you're doing. Welcome once again to Africa Speaks of today. And what have I got in today's program? It's a very, very interesting program, because I have a very wonderful lady right in front of me here who is going to tell us a lot, especially as far as DSC is concerned. Now, what does Africa needs most to empower her people and bring them out of poverty? Is it education or is it modern technology? That's one of the things we're going to talk about, and especially our focus is going to be on Congo. DRC, I know there's another Congo, but DRC, as I said. And I just want to remind you all that we're moving over to YouTube in the next few minutes. We're moving over to YouTube. If you want to continue with this, obviously, program as it goes on, move with us to YouTube. And I hope we have a wonderful time there. Now, the DRC is one of Africa's largest countries, but also one of those that have been unstable for many years, as I repeat. Yeah. Its most famous son, President Mobutu Sese Seko, had it named Zaire, if you all remember. Of course, Rambo in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, that was a wonderful, made Zaire or Congo, DRC, known throughout the world. But at the end of his 36-year reign, saw the country return to its original name. So now we know it as DRC. Now, so what is now going on in DRC is a question that not only me, but everybody has been asking, because we sometimes get information from outside which is not proper, and we rather get the information from the proper sources. Now, does Africa needs education or modern technology to get her people out of poverty? Is the key question in today's program, and the focus, as I said, is on Congo. Now, with me in the studio is Dr. Leticia Moshwe, I hope I pronounced that rightly, founder of Lint-Based Global, an organization dedicated to empowering communities through learning, innovation, and technology. And that is where the question comes in. She's involved in all these issues, of course, the learning, the innovation, technology, and of course the key part of this is empowering. To how do you empower other people to be who they are, or to even excel more than almost to the level that is above you? How do you do that? Now, you have a lot of responsibilities, and from what I've read, I've seen co-director Angola Hunger, director Danava Management Consultancy, the others, mediator, chaplain. Yeah, there are so many roles you're playing. For a young woman like you, I mean, there are so many of these roles. How do you manage to put all these together and manage to survive and manage to lead a decent life in a way that you're enjoying yourself as well? Because there are so many of them. You can only find one who's a mediator, and but not managing any of these. Even including one outside like Angola. How do you manage?
Well, thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah. And just first to correct you, my name is Leticia Moshwe.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And how do I manage? Wow, that's a great question.
Yeah.
It all boils down to systems, having the right systems in place.
Okay.
And some of these things, like the chaplaincy, I don't do that on an everyday basis.
All right.
It's more just when somebody needs some spiritual counseling, because I go to, it's really to do with Christianity, so I give them Christian counsel. But my company that I put most of my focus on is Lint-Based Global.
Okay.
That's short for Learning, Innovation and Technology Base.
All right.
And with that, we are doing a lot of educational courses for the youth, particularly in the DRC. Now we do some works here as well with the youth here, with projects like Future Leadership Academy. We have projects like Ready for Work projects, so where we train them up and teach them on CV building and such. And also we give them revision classes as well for those students who have exams going on. Now, how does that tie with Angola Hunger Relief? It's a slightly different project, because with Angola Hunger Relief, my business partner, she's Angolan. And you know that they are our neighbouring country in the DRC. And so I've always had a vested interest there as well, because I do have some relatives over there too. And the way that we work over there is we're working with the widows and the orphans. Yes, so we get the orphans some training with a local establishment that is there to provide them training. So we work with them, they train over there, and then those skills that they learn there, they take it to the widows' home and help the widows in the home by providing them with catering services and food provision as well. My my heart really goes out to the DRC, because of course I'm a native of the DRC. I was born there, and still highly connected to the DRC. So how we started initially, Lit Space Global, was we started as a humanitarian organisation that was helping the displaced families in the camps of Kanyarushinga, that is in Kivu, the east of the east of Congo, where all the atrocities and the wars are taking place.
Is that very far from Uvira or Kivu? I think
they're pretty far from each other. When you think of the country, is pretty huge. So they are pretty far. But our works there was mainly, how we started was giving them food. Those ones that are living in the tents, we're giving them food, we're giving them blankets, basic hygiene products, and also teaching the young children on personal development, self-development. And we had programs for women as well, where we trained them up on entrepreneurial skills, and we gave them little microfinance to be able to start their own small business by perhaps...
Is that the same organization, or the World Humanitarian Organization?
No,
Peace and Equality.
That one's separate.
That's such a... Oh God! Okay, how many of them are there? There are about 6-7 organizations.
With the World Humanitarian Organization for Peace and Equity, we call it WOPE for short.
WOPE. Yeah, I've seen it.
Because otherwise it's a very long name. With that one, it's human rights. It's looking at where there are injustices in the world, and that one's more based in Nigeria. So because it's Lit Space Global, so I'm able to work with people, so they're more of a partner, because I partnered with them. They also needed support with their
So you didn't actually start this one, it was already there?
No, that is an existing one, but for the UK branch, I was part of setting that up. But when I initially partnered with them, it was the Nigerian branch. So going back to your question, how do I manage? I suppose, when you have the right structures, the right people doing the works and the right partnerships, it makes it a lot easier. It certainly makes it a lot easier. There are days where I feel a bit inundated.
There comes a question of trust. Would somebody do something much better? Would you do it the way I would have done it? Would you entrust it? Because what I've discovered with most of these organizations, having talked to most of the people who are working in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, and other areas in Africa, there's always that element of trust, whereby certain things are supposed to have been done. Then when you go and you come back and suddenly some things are not done, then you say, why wasn't this one done? Don't you experience that kind of thing? Because a lot of those who are working with this organization are experiencing that. Or sometimes the political structure jumps in.
Well, I suppose with that, you have to know who you're working with. There is an element of distrust, but we have to be able to trust somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
when you have a good monitoring system in place, that helps you and enables you to be able to better monitor the works that are happening. I mean, you can get that here as well in the UK.
I know.
When the boss is not in, everybody wants to just hang around and do nothing. And then as soon as the boss comes in,
they all pretend
sit
that
up
they've been,
and pretend that they've been
working,
very active. So it goes back to them knowing that there is a head of the organisation. There is somebody that is monitoring them, and if the work is not done, then there are repercussions.
Or you put tasks there in place. Or say, okay, before the end of this month, this has to have been done. When we're beginning next month, this is the 5-year development plan, but within the next 4 months, this is what. So you strategically set up things which have to be achieved within that short of time.
Yes, so you would have your overall strategy, whether it's 5-year strategy, 10-year strategy, and you break that down. This is what your overall goal is. Now, how do you bring that down into segments of what needs to be done each year?
On a regular basis,
yes, and that will then lead you to what needs to be done on a daily basis. And you put some KPIs in place, key performance indicators, and for each department, they have their separate KPIs. And at the end of the month, it's reviewed. And if they're not met, then you will look at why they're not met. What is it that is stopping the team from meeting those KPIs? Is it external circumstances or is it internal? Do we need to fix our processes inside? Or is it something, maybe it's the laws that are in place, regulations, because those can affect a lot of things as well. The external environment, perhaps, you know, there's competitors out there as well who's perhaps pinching some of the business that you could be taking. Is it that you need to increase your marketing capacity? Is it that you need to upskill your team? So there's various things that you need to consider, but all of that means that you need to sit with your team and have open and honest discussions. You know, this is not being met. It's not about penalizing people for not meeting their needs, but working with them. Now,
being do you have any membership with the, say for example, the World Health Organization or the World WHO, for example, WHO, the World Health Organization, or any of these other major organizations, the American companies, the Americans, or the British, like, you know, so many of these organizations are existing, whereby whatever you are monitoring or whatever you are doing, they're all part of it in terms of either helping out or even funding.
Well, yes. I mean, at the moment, we don't have direct membership with these organisations, but we do have some people who volunteer their time who have worked with these organisations. So that helps us in terms of capacity building. It helps us in terms of looking at some of our processes, what needs to be done to be able to meet certain criteria. It helps us in terms of partnerships with other NGOs. So though we don't directly have membership with them, we do gain some insight and some little knowledge here and there. Of course, up to the level that they're allowed to give, because there are protocols in place.
Now, government interference. This is one of the biggest things. I was talking to somebody with the International Red Cross, and he was explaining to me, I'm into management with the International Red Cross. He's been to Congo, been to so many African countries, including Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. And one of the biggest problems he has always felt is that there's a lot of bureaucracy involved, and most of it comes from the governments within. You find that they are trying to do something, then they are blocked by the government. And sometimes even their own organizations from their own country. In Uganda, for example, even in Kenya, they deal with the local organizations and they try to empower them. But sometimes a politician somewhere or a government may come in and say, you've got to come through us. Then when they go to the government for monitoring or even for helping or for assistance, then the people that are sent by the government to come in and help are not actually doing anything. As soon as they turn their back, things are not working. And then they go back to the government to say, hang on a minute, this thing was supposed to have been completed, but it was given, the government task was to do ABCD. We can do that task. But the government says, no, we are going. You get that kind of interference in Congo, because if it's happening in Uganda, if it's happening in Kenya and Tanzania and other parts, then it must be happening in Congo as well.
It is something that does happen. I haven't faced it myself, mainly because I haven't gone direct to a government official to say, you know, I need your support with this or with that.
But even if you haven't gone, but they are seeing you doing work there, because I've experienced it with the filming in my village. We don't necessarily, we only alerted them that we are coming to do some filming. But still somebody turned up, even when we were given permission to do so. So I'm thinking similarly, you may go to a certain place like Goma and you're trying to do something. But because government soldiers are there, government organizations, government civil servants are there, the questions start coming in. You haven't experienced that?
Well, what we did, especially when we were in the camps of Kivu, we spoke directly with the camp leaders.
Okay.
And they gave us access to be able to come in and film some of the works that we're doing there, because we need to be able to have documented evidence as well. So when I think it all boils down to the connection that you make with them, and again the type of partners that you have. Now the partners that I was working with in the camps, they were familiar with those camps. They were familiar with the leaders over there because they'd done a few works with them before.
Okay.
So when I said, you know, we need to do something for Lit Space as well, to go there and support the people, they were open towards it because they recognized the man that was representing Lit Space, because he'd done several things with them before.
Okay.
But there are certainly blocks that people face when it comes to these things, especially with African governments, local governments as well, because they don't want to be shown that they're not doing enough. Yeah. And I had a friend actually, he wanted to, it's a terrible story, I shouldn't even laugh. He wanted to start a transportation company, and his uncle...
This is in Congo.
His uncle was one of the local governors, and his uncle was the one who decided that he's going to put a stop to what he's doing, because he felt like he's showing off that the uncle doesn't do enough. How dare you come in when I've been leading for a long time and then try to show that you can do more than me. So it became a family struggle between them. They fell out badly, but it's something that we have to always remember when we go into Africa. I talk of the Congo, but I suppose, like you said, it's happening in other nations as well. We have to really tread carefully, have to tread very carefully, and make sure you have all the right documentation, the right paperwork, signed by the right people. Otherwise,
you're going to money has always been, funding has always been a major
funding
problem.
is a big one,
and it's not only almost each and every organizations in Africa needs that, and money comes from the West, sometimes from the governments here, but it comes with conditions on it, attached to it. Have you ever, for example, tried to earn money, sorry, not to earn, but try to apply for funding, and then they brought conditions attached to it, and then you find yourself into the middle of something. Do you need the money? But there is an attachment onto it, which you either don't believe in it, you believe the attachment shouldn't be there, but it's there anyway. Have you ever come across such an issue?
Certainly, yes. But like with all things, you have to know how to play around it. I don't want to snitch on myself. Bring up a big question.
No, don't worry. Your answers are safe with us.
But so because they do want a report at the end of the project, particular project that you have, they do want you to show a report. How was the money used? You know, and yes, so we do provide them with reports of how it was used. Sometimes, you know, you might exaggerate a little thing here or there, but the report is provided. And
how about saying, so you have to work with Steve Malindra, whether you like it or not. We are giving you this amount. You got to do this. You work with so and so.
You want to get me in trouble?
No. The thing is I've talked to somebody who has had that kind of thing before from Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah.
You were discussing something, and he was saying, look, they landed a man on us. But we needed the money, but the man landed on us, and he had strict conditions on certain things. And when we've said we actually need the money, it's needed more for the children and the mothers and so on. But he was looking more at something which is, and we kept telling him, we want the money to go. The children needed more. They need, we need to set up the schools, we need the food and so on. And these women, some of them have come with stories of rape and, you know, they are traumatized. So we need to get counselors to come in and you know, and counsel these women, so that's where the money is needed. He was saying, no, I think he was pointing in a different direction. So in the end, they felt frustrated. That one of them even said, you know what? Keep your money. We don't want your money. If this money is going to come, we don't want your money. You know, until they had to get a doctor from this way. I think it was a French doctor or a Spanish doctor who go there and actually went to see what was going. They had to get rid of the administrator because he wasn't pointing in the direction they wanted. So that kind of scenario, I don't think you faced it before. Ground, which was part of the deal of either leaving the M25 in the areas where they are, because this is what... M23, in the areas where they are. And the Americans are supposed to come in with something. They didn't actually line up what the entire deal was about. But you know, with Donald Trump, it's to do with he's a businessman. It's to do with what they're going to get. But it's like, what they're getting is bigger than what they're giving in.
Oh, absolutely.
But somewhere along the way, in order for that peace to survive, there's something that they are doing that they are supposed to give back into Congo in terms of that peace to last. I don't know what you people from Congo need to question this.
Well, the truth of the matter is the peace isn't quite there.
It's not there.
It was supposed to be a peace agreement that the US was supposed to come in and help to calm the situation. I wouldn't say I know every minute detail about it, but one thing I do know is that the fights are continuing. The area is still seized. It's still being owned by the M23 rebels. So these contracts that the president is signing, I think needs a review. Definitely needs a review, because America is all about America, make America great again. So Trump is all about America.
But the difference here is that I've seen a small video of what the M23 are trying to do in the very region that they took. Several Congolese that actually were saying that it's like, there was no cap there, but now there's a cap there. There was no road there, but now there's a road there. There was no proper housing somewhere, but now there is a housing. It's like the M23 are trying to prove to the Congolese that, listen, much as money is being sniffed out, but it's not sniffed out to go completely, and there's nothing we're putting back. But there's something, at least there's a building, a small building somewhere. It could be a hut, but it's there. But there was no hut there. You see the point? In other words, they're trying to justify why they're in the areas. People are getting medicine from small hospitals which are coming in from Rwanda and other areas. People are getting the roads I think 1 or 2 roads were constructed. There are small things which seem to be happening, because they are also trying to win favor from Congolese to say that the government hasn't done this for the last 40 years. We are doing something about it.
Well, they could be doing something, but what's the real reason behind it? Because we know that their intention is to seize the place and make it theirs. So we have to look at what the real motives behind it is. Like I said, I can't go into the minute details with that one, but certainly we have to explore what the real motives behind it is. You can say, you know, I'll give you $10,
Yeah.
but I'm going to pinch 100 from you, you know? would that be fair?
No, of course it's not fair.
No.
It's not fair. But I'd rather have the $10 than not having anything in my pocket. No, seriously. When the others are just scrapping everything and taking it away, but you give me $10, I'll tell you, well, thank you very much for the $10. At least I have $10 in my pocket. That's what is happening, because they say, okay, at least there's a Maram road somewhere, that's the road. But there was no road there. So next time I said, at least there's a hut there. There was no house there. At least there's a bit of water there. There was no water there. So in other words, it's like taking 80% or 90% and you give somebody 10%, but it's better to have a 10% than nothing at all.
Well, in that kind of situation where they have limited power, and limited control on what they can actually do about it, I suppose for them they can say, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Yes.
Because we can't start dreaming of the big dreams when we are not in control. So maybe the dreams are there, but because now people have started looking at M23 as some kind of said, okay, much as they're a rebel movement, they're doing this, but there is something there which we have to look at, and maybe they have a point in what they're trying to do. Because I saw the interview and I could see some of them are well educated.
Well, they are
highly educated.
Well, to keep going for so long, you need to have a good strategy. So yes, they are well educated.
And then I saw the 10-15-year development plan in areas, and I could see the way these guys were organizing, and I said, wow. And then the accent was more like Ugandan, or it's not Congolese.
More Rwandan.
More, I could say Rwanda, but most of the Rwandese came from Uganda. Most remember during those ones. So during the
the argument for the M23 has always been that they felt the Congo wasn't receiving them well enough. And that they demanded territory because they
were never properly recognized,
they say that they're not properly recognized as Congolese, and they're saying, well, we've been here for a very long time, so therefore it is also our country. And it's a very complex fight.
We have something similar because we've got Rwandese. We've got a lot of Rwandese in Uganda, others who came in the 60s, in the 50s and the 60s, who now we got a generation who have never even been to Rwanda. Now, there's a generation where even now Kagame is a president who was also grew up and studied and was even in Ugandan military scholarships when he was abroad. And, everybody knows this. Most of them, their kids were born in Uganda, and most of them have Ugandan citizenship. So the generation that was educated is in Uganda. They speak very good English. They speak the languages in Uganda. Even in my own tribe, so many people speak my language. So to us, they were never Rwandese because they were born in Uganda. There's a huge percentage. They are Ugandans. And even now, some are demanding, say, hey, we need to be recognized as Ugandans who are from Rwandese, but Ugandans. Now, the Congo couldn't give them that. Despite the fact that they've lived in
that's
Congo
their
for
argument.
the last, but time has come for you to simply say, you are now Congolese, come on.
Well, see, I'm a peace ambassador, Steve, and with that, I do believe that we can live in peace. When we start removing all these labels, oh, you are Rwandese and you are this and that, because you can have the same argument here. I have siblings that were born here, and I have even cousins who've got children who are born here and have children who are also born here. And would you then tell them that they're not British?
Of course not. Of course
exactly.
No.
So the argument is the same. And I think we just need to stop the fighting and really assess. Because I went to Rwanda in April last year. And I was going to go again this year, but I had a little bit of mishaps. And I went to their peace village, where we actually had the perpetrators, the Tutus, the Hutus and the Tutsis, and they were standing next to each other. One saying, you see this lady here? I killed about 20 people in her family.
Ooh. Yeah. That's the Commission
yes.
for the Truth
Yes.
and Reconciliation. Yeah.
Yes, but when you go there, you can really feel the culture in the country is one that says we are now one and no more division.
Yeah.
But then it breaks my heart to see that they're doing this to the Congolese people, bearing in mind that we took them on. The reason why they're in Congo is because we took them on when they had their, their issues.
Disputes, we took them in as refugees.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
So if they can decide that they will have no more of that atrocities and killings of one another in their country, they have a lot of reminders everywhere you go. A lot of
what the massacres that took place there, yeah.
A lot of memorials as well that tells you the story of how it all came to be, how it happened, and how they managed to stop it, and how now they've decided that they're going to work together in peace. And it's such a peaceful country, Steve. You can feel it when you're there.
Yeah.
I said, wow, when I go to Congo, people are screaming. The first step you take is like, somebody's already shouting. When you go to Rwanda, peace. And I said, if they know the value
of peace,
of what it is to work together in harmony, why can't they see us as their brothers and sisters?
No, I can maybe jump in there because I've spoken to a number of Congolese, and we went one day, an argument even broke out on an event that we were on in Brosgrove, and the argument was based on the fact that so many Congolese cannot recognize Rwandese as being Congolese. I mean, they can, what you've just described is the fact that they can recognize other Tutsis and Hutus to be Rwandese in their own country. But when they are abroad, they are not recognized by the Congolese as Rwandese. Sorry, as Congolese. Now we have something similar in Sudan. There are so many South Sudanese who came in as refugees in Uganda. Uganda has welcomed a lot of them. At one time, there was a lot of dispute in the north regarding Sudanese, Ugandans who had started committing atrocities to Sudanese because the Sudanese had committed the similar atrocities to Ugandans who are doing trade there. They didn't want Ugandans to go and do trade there. Yet, there are so many Sudanese who are doing trade in Uganda. And until religious leaders and other people started sitting down and saying, why are we killing each other?
Exactly.
We are the same people. Now, what's going on in Sudan is not something you should go in here because all of you can't walk in Uganda. You just walk in. And nobody, the army is not stopping you. Nobody is stopping you because a Sudanese is almost like a Ugandan.
Well, we have to look at each other as just human beings and one family.
What he was trying to stress when I saw what was going on at Brosgrove was I asked one of the Congolese guy, I said, look, when you look at me, do you see any difference? He says, this isn't there. Then why are you seeing a difference in a Rwandese?
Exactly.
Why are you seeing a difference in a Rwandese who is in Congo? That's when you need to recognize that, no, as far as I'm concerned, oh no, they have come here, they're not Congolese. I said, yeah, but hang on a minute, you're here in UK.
Yes.
You're not British, but you're allowed to stay here.
Yeah.
But in France, you're allowed to stay, but you're not French. If you get the attitude of saying, okay, these people are here, they're in Congo, but they are Rwandese, but let's accept them as Congolese as well. That's what they're fighting for. They want acceptance, but it's not being accepted even by the government itself. It's saying no, they're not. But they're born there. They're born in Congo. They've been there for the last 40 years.
Well, the problem comes with labels. You see, once somebody commits a crime, and you're quick to say, oh, this Congolese person, or oh, that Ugandan person, or that Rwandan person, then you've created a negative connotation because anyone can commit a crime. You know, even here, when you hear people talking about all these immigrants coming in and, you know, they're committing crimes and doing theft and fraud. And I say, but have you not heard of an English person doing a crime? You know, we have to look at it like that. You know, people are people. And as humans, there will be some that perhaps are not so law-abiding. But we shouldn't brand them as being that way because of where they come from.
Where they come from, I agree.
Yeah.
Now, the role of women's organizations because there is always something that I've been told. Men are always forgotten when it comes to this issue. Now, there are so many women organizations working in Congo, helping women and children.
Yes.
But men are forgotten. And so many men have got mental health issues now. Yes. And their numbers have really gone down, not just in the camps and everywhere you go. Because a documentary I saw didn't see, I think they were very, out of about it's about 100 women, you're going to find about 4 or 5 men. Because, okay, men are killed, others have mental health issues and suddenly either hang themselves or something like that. The people are not, even organizations like yours, they don't cater for men.
Hey, don't say we don't cater for men.
No, what I'm saying, you have a special place where women are on top here. But when it comes to men, sometimes you have to look under. So, I think it gives me, it gives me what an English sergeant told me. I was driving one day here years ago in 1992, 93. I borrowed a friend's car and I got stopped. I didn't have a license. I didn't have a British license. I had a Ugandan license, but not a British license. I didn't have insurance.
Oh, yeah, double whammy.
So they stopped me, took me to the police station. The car belonged to a cousin of mine, and so of course they said, "You can't drive this car. You have to, and so on." And now there was a Ghanaian sergeant at the desk. And he asked me where I come from, so I explained to him. So they said, okay, you go to court, you're going to pay this amount. The court will decide, but the car is, of course, remaining here. Your cousin who has the insurance and his car is going to come and collect it. But then we started chatting with him. He said, asking the usual questions. Of course, he needed my details and so on, which I gave him. Then he told me, I said, look, you're in a country where if a house catches fire, I've always remembered this. If a house catches fire, they will jump in and pick out. The fire brigade will come, they'll pick out a woman. Sorry, they'll pick up a child. Then they pick up a woman. Then they're going to ask around, is there a dog, a cat in there? And they'll pick a dog and a cat out of the house. Then they'll look at and say, there was a man there as well. Yeah. What are you doing? Just jump. Just jump out of the window. We will catch you. Now, they even went to the cat and dog, and so he was telling me, say, remember that. Remember that when you're here, they will always get you. But, so it comes down to that as well when I look at most organizations, not just in Congo, but in other African countries, even in Uganda and Kenya, and all these organizations. You're going to find Oxfam, Medical, says, and all of them. Somewhere along the way, men are somewhere underneath here, the bottom. They are not part of their priority. Of course, I agree. You should look at children, you should look at women, but somewhere in the middle there, these women are not going to be there without men. Somewhere, men are playing a role. They are the fathers and so on. But you even find that there's no funding for them.
It's terrible.
There's no funding. There's no funding.
Yeah.
So people like you who are involved in this organization, why don't you come up with maybe one big organization that's funding men's mental health, men's well-being, so that they could look after the families, why doesn't it come up? I think
that's a brilliant idea. And we blame the civil rights movement.
Come on. Yeah.
As brilliant as it is, brilliant as it is, but it stemmed from there. It used to be a man's world.
It's a feminine way of pointing at it. Come on,
No, but it is true. It used to be a man's world, and for a long time, women were at the bottom.
Yeah,
and then society changed, and we said, okay, we need equal rights for women as well. But somewhere along that equal rights level, something switched, like a screw was loose.
No, who's going
and
to
then we said, forget the men.
Who is going to
put them under the table?
It's got to be you to change that narrative. It's got to be you people who are involved with these organizations. You've got to change that narrative. Because when these babies are born, they are young, they are looked after, the young people. Somewhere along the way, there are no male role models. They're all male role models because they are seeing their mothers. And straight away, even young girls are looking at and say they will never associate with men because they never saw their dads. That structure has a way in which it damages society. And on a number of occasions, I've tried to present it in the people I've discussed issues with. And then they always point a finger. You're a male chauvinist. I said, no. I'm just trying to point out something which is existing in society. And if we don't do this, somewhere along the way, that's why I'm trying to. Don't get me wrong. I like what you're doing, helping women and children and all that. But somewhere along the way, there should be an area. They've discovered this, by the way, in Somalia as well. When time came and they were looking and said, okay, all these organizations like Il Shabaab have taken so many young people and so on, because they don't find an area of where do they belong. There are no men around. So somewhere along the way now, Somalians are waking up and say, hey, reports are coming in, given by various women. They say, hang on a minute, men are not just needed to be husbands, no, but they're also needed to be to help in sense of control of society in a way where women can't reach. Men will always be there. So any
well, I can speak for my organization.
I put you on the spot on that.
No, but you're absolutely right, and it is something that I thought about as well. When we were running programs for the women, I said we have to also run one for the men as well, because they are suffering, and a lot of burden is put on them, and like you said, they're pressure. Forgotten. They're forgotten now, and that shouldn't be right because they're supposed to be equals, the women and the men. But what tends to happen is, yes, people prioritize women because they're considered to be more vulnerable, and more or less able to support themselves in times of trouble. However, that shouldn't put aside the fact that men do need help, and there are less men in the world. Because a lot of them are the ones that have to go into war. Yes, because a lot of them are the ones that have to go to war, fight, and then they die there. And then you have a disproportion of men and women. And then again, they're being sidelined because everybody wants to prioritize the child, the woman, the cat, the dog, the fish, before they talk about the man.
To the men,
Yes, and so that puts a lot of pressure on the men to have to be this macho man and really show up because in a society.
We're always taught that as in our cultures and so on. You got to be like a man. You got to you don't have to cry. You don't have to do this. You have to be a man. So it becomes something which becomes more of a burden. So when you hear, whoa, a certain man has committed suicide, you wonder, because he couldn't show much in his society. He couldn't stand in, because nobody was there.
And also they verbalize themselves a lot less. Women will go to other women and vent and tell everything that they're going through because that pain shared.
No, but we do nowadays. But the problem is, it's like having conservatives among us, the old ones, who would say, if I go to my grandfather, I remember he's no longer here, but if I used to go to him and I said, oh, I've had this kind of thing, and because he's from the old school, he'll tell me, boy,
man up.
Kind of man up. What did you do? Your mother just slapped you. I said, come on, man up. You stand up and, So there will be that element which yet societies have changed. Much as you want to man up, there is a big difference in what's going on nowadays because of what is surrounding us, especially in terms of earning a living. The old school boys, they didn't have to do a lot. They were working next door here. They had the house, they had the land, they had, So there wasn't really much. Nowadays, you have to pay rent, you have to pay this, you pay this. And then on top of that, you have your wife as well, a woman who is pushing you as well. You're not doing good enough. Then in the end, they don't know what is going on. So I think prioritizing the mental health of men and getting other men in to foresee that, I think we need to, I need to talk to so-and-so because of this. I need to, that to me, is very important than helping some of the women.
And society puts a lot of pressure on people now. It's not the way that it used to be. I spoke to a gentleman, bless his soul. He said, he was rather elderly. He said, when he bought his first home, it was just £3,000.
Yeah, at the time.
You couldn't imagine that in this time, in this day and age. You know, so there's now a lot of pressure that's put on the men, because even though people are talking about 50-50 in households, but it's not as prevalent as the man is still the provider.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of pressure on the man. He feels like he's underperforming, but because society is expecting too much, much more than it ever did on anyone. So we have to take care of these men as well. Check in with them. There are men groups, but certainly part of the organization, my organization, is to also help men.
Yeah, you got a section there.
We are setting up a section that says, you know, let's bring the men together. Let's see how we can support them. Make a group where men can come together every week, meet, catch up, share stories, have some counselling sessions. You know, just to ensure that they're looked after as well. Yeah.
Okay. Elderly women, voices that are heard. You can come in, give the ideas from the West, put them on the ground, do whatever you're doing over. But the voices that are meant to be those on the ground, I don't know whether you put this in your reports in a way that you're saying, okay, this is what the people are saying. Like I told you about the Al Jazeera program and the village and so on. Because the voices are not, there's an assumption that now we're going into a camp and this is what we expect, this is what we find. So you get what you see there, you deal with what you see there, but then you don't take in their voices. What else would they need? Do you take these voices in?
Actually, we did have a survey with the people in the camps that we help, and they did tell us what we need, but it boils down to capacity and funding. How much of it can we really provide? And there are many issues that people face, but we have to pick which ones can we help with, especially at the stage, the level that we're at. When we're much bigger and we have so much more funding, oh yes, we can do a lot more. Like at the moment, one of the projects is actually to build a vocational college to help bring people up, because people recognize that young people are left without proper education, without proper skills. They can't get jobs in Africa, especially in the DRC. The people can't get jobs, so they're just hanging around. And when you're just hanging around, you get into drugs, you get into crime. You know, the crime rate has increased significantly in the DRC. People just forming gangs and going to rob your house, or they rob you on the street with machetes and various utensils that they want to use, just because they don't have anything else that could give them capacity.
There's always one thing which we've been discussing here, and that is to do with the in-house funding. Rather than waiting for the Americans, the British and other people, the French and so on, to bring in anything, the president of Burkina Faso has started something which is, you know, is Ibrahim Traoré? Yeah,
yes,
that's his name. He started something which so many other African leaders are
themselves.
The community themselves are bringing in, are raising the money. Now, you can put $1, you can put £1, you can put whatever you have, so that everything comes. Now, this can happen in Congo as well.
Absolutely.
When you tell them, say, look, start a fundraising, and that fundraising said, look, even if we get $10 out of maybe 20 people, 40 people, what can we do with $10? You look at the local materials of things that you can do within locally. This is what Burkina Faso is trying to do. Tomorrow they won't need. Who funded United Kingdom to reach where it is? Money came in from donations. Well, they did in the 18th century and so on. But they were also doing a lot of fundraising from within. You know, time comes and you can now see what's going on with the Prince Andrew and so on. Say, look, the taxes, we need to do this. They have to find ways in which in-house, the money has to come in, and it comes from within. Now, that is what in Africa we haven't been known to do. If you ask me now to donate something when I'm in Uganda, I'll probably laugh at you and say, what are you talking about? Why would I give my money? That's supposed to be done by the government. But now I know the purpose. If I can do it, if we can have 20 people, each one bringing in $20 or £20 or something, Yeah, somewhere we can think of that. That's the number of iron sheets or some of blocks that can build something. You know, so that it's a joint venture kind of thing. I don't know whether.
Remember at the beginning of the conversation, I said to you, we just recently partnered with an organisation that's actually skilled in community funding.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the idea that we have. So we are building the college with the local people. So the idea is this: to make it very simple for everyone. We start off with a football pitch, bring in the young people, come and play football. So as they're playing, we're recruiting them to come and learn construction. And then when they come, they learn construction. We pay them a little bit to build the college, so it becomes a legacy college. This is the college my father built, sort of thing. And they have that pride in that. But also the community themselves will be able to see the value in which they are bringing, so they can all chip in $100 here, $50 there, $20 there, whatever it is. You know, and they have a shared interest, a vested interest in what we are building, because it's for them. For the development of their children, their grandchildren will go there. You know, so we've been looking at that community funding. We can't always rely on government tenders and money coming in from abroad, because sometimes there are strict requirements that really make it hard for the funding to come in. But if we can say we'll start anyway, and then when these other investors and these other larger organizations see what we've already done, they can say, oh, let's be a part of that and chip in, see what much more we can do.
Okay, that's a very good idea. How about movement from one area to another? Because I was reading about another thing which meant that if certain areas are not suitable, some people don't want to move away from those areas and move into other areas, because several camps were to be moved, but the local people didn't want that to happen. With areas which are more suitable to, say, for example, build more housing or more other projects that can easily work. I said, look, we are looking at invested land which is maybe 20 miles away, 10 miles away, and we are trying to do something in that area. And then the local people say, no, we are not moving away from here. That experience, is it possible? Is it possible to deal with the organization like yours?
Well, we had to consider that when we were talking about the college, building the college. How far are people willing to travel? Because some areas are not as built as others. But we have to remember, the only way to build an area is to start, and the people will also follow. But with the pilot scheme is going to be in Kinshasa. But there's so much land. The land is so vast, so much untapped land that need to be developed. But again, there's the issue with roads, transportation. The Congo really has minimal transportation. We don't even have a train. So
Mobutu had started something, and then I think you got him out of the way after 36 years. He was thinking of doing the train. He had started working with Libyans to do, I think Moroccans. I think the Moroccan company was trying to do something about that. And then you got rid of him.
Well, that's a different problem, but it is true. We do need more roads, because those are the things that make it easier for people to migrate, to move to other areas. But people are being, what do you call it, when there's congestion, people crowded in one particular area, mainly because when you go further out,
there are no facilities.
There are none. You can't find a pharmacy. You can't find stores. You can't. What will you be able to do? So it makes it hard for people. But we need to start building these roads. We need to start building trains. We need to. That's the only way we can develop these countries. And if everybody's saying, "Oh, I can't move there," then where do we stand?
Angola. I keep going back to your association with Angola. Angola has something which are similar to the problems of Angola are almost similar to the problems of Congo because of the war that had taken place in Angola many years ago, and obviously so many people were killed. And then, of course, these regions like Katanga and so on are depopulated because of that, and there's a lot going on now. You dealing with the hunger in Angola, is there any particular way in which they're saying, okay, now, while we're dealing with hunger, can we grow the food? Can we do this? Can we do this? Always simply waiting to be distributed, the food is given to them. Because there's a lot of, the peace has happened in Angola for a long time. Why is it still having a hunger problem?
That is a good question to ask, why it's still having a hunger problem. I think it boils down to government management, how they're really managing the country. But the way that we're working with these people, because we have looked at agriculture, but we had to start on the scale that we can afford. So what we're actually doing with the local farmers is saying, whatever you're not able to sell, give it to us.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, and then because we're working with widows who don't have husbands, they don't have any other way to feed themselves. Give it to us, we'll give it to them. You know, and also we're working with, I told you, the orphans. So they get some as well. So it's about food rescue, because a lot also gets thrown away. There is a hunger issue, but there's also a lot in the farming that gets thrown away.
The first time I'm hearing a food rescue. I've never had that.
Yeah, food rescue. It happens in the UK as well, food rescue.
Food is being rescued.
Otherwise it gets thrown out.
Now, how do you see the future of DRC and in the next maybe 10 years from now? And how do you see your organization? This is the very last one. We're coming towards the end of the program. How do you see that future?
For
do
me,
you see changes that are going to harm, or do you see?
I think there are going to be great changes.
Yeah.
And I say that because even a lot of the politicians and government officials recognize that change needs to happen. Even our president recognizes that. We just had a conference with a few ministers from the DRC.
They were here in London.
Last week, yes.
They were here in London,
Yes, Monday and Tuesday we had that conference. And we sat down with some members of parliament, the UK members of parliament as well, and we were just discussing trade between the DRC and the UK. And there has been exponential growth so far, but it is set to grow further. And there is a lot of UK Congolese professionals, all from the diaspora, that are going back to the DRC to set up businesses, to set up systems and irrigation systems, set up schools and training sites. So things are changing. Things are certainly changing, and I think in the next 10 years we will definitely be at a better place than we are, given that the government don't mess us over. Because that's always something we have to keep an eye on.
You have to keep that in mind. Anything can change. Anything can change. Okay, Dr. Leticia, I just want to say thank you very, very much for coming here and telling us about Congo, telling us about your organization. And I just want to wish you all the best of luck in what is happening. When it happens to Africa, luck is part of it. Luck is part of it. The other part is your planning, but luck it plays a big role in some of this, because you may plan something and then tomorrow something else happens. Yeah, but the best of luck in all.
Thank you, and it's been great being here.
Yeah, I just want to thank you all for being with us on today's program, and I hope we'll be together again next week for another edition of Africa Speaks. Thank you, and may God bless you all.